Today there are a lot of updates from the Toresk direction. Here, the Russians made significant progress in the fight for New York and placed the Ukrainian defenders under siege at a local chemical factory. In response, the Ukrainian command deployed the elite special purpose 12th Azov Brigade, which resulted in a dramatic change and liberation of the most fortified part of the city. Previously, Russian forces seized control of the high-rise district in the western part of the city, an important gain given the nature of the terrain. The remaining areas under Ukrainian control consist mostly of small residential houses surrounding the industrial zone, with the high-rise buildings providing the Russians with a commanding view and fire control over the low-lying residential areas. Ukrainian positions became increasingly untenable. The lack of fortified defenses in the residential sector forced the Ukrainian forces to consolidate at their only remaining stronghold, the heavily fortified chemical plant. The Russians were able to advance effectively by leveraging their fire control and observation points from the high-rises, coupled with their numerical superiority and heavy firepower, to push the Ukrainians back toward the chemical plant. However, their momentum was short-lived, as the Ukrainian forces quickly fortified their positions around the industrial zone, halting the Russian advance just outside the plant. The Ukrainians utilized the plant's strong defensive structures to withstand the Russian assault, preventing further Russian penetration into the industrial sector. The New York chemical plant offered formidable defensive advantages that played a crucial role in halting the Russian advance. The plant's high-rise factory buildings, constructed from concrete and reinforced materials, made them highly resistant to Russian artillery and air strikes. These structures also served as valuable observation points for Ukrainian forces, allowing them to detect Russian movements around the plant and disrupt any plant assaults with precision fire. Additionally, given the factory's significant economic importance during the Soviet era, it likely features underground bunkers, providing Ukrainian fighters with essential cover from airstrikes and adding another layer of defense in the ongoing battle. The terrain surrounding the New York chemical plant further strengthens its defensive position. To the west, the Kryvyi River and a large pond create natural barriers that would slow down any Russian assault, leaving advancing forces vulnerable to concentrated Ukrainian fire as they attempt to cross. To the east, beyond the plant, lies a vast open area near railway tracks. Here, any Russian assault units would be exposed to concealed Ukrainian fire from well-defended positions, making an advance across this open terrain extremely dangerous and costly for the attackers. These geographic features significantly bolster the Ukrainians' defensive strategy, creating choke points and opportunities to inflict heavy losses on Russian forces. While Ukrainian units in the industrial zone held strong positions, the Russians decided to avoid direct assaults and instead attempted to starve them of ammunition and food. The Ukrainian command recognized this as a pressing issue, as the forces and positions in the chemical plant were instrumental in defending the western flank of Toresk. Therefore, elements of the special purpose 12th Azov Brigade were deployed to relieve the Ukrainian fighters at the chemical plant and establish a stable supply line to maintain the defense. The 12th Special Purpose Azov Brigade consists of veteran fighters who played a pivotal role in the Battle of Mariupol and the Donbas War up until 2022, making them some of the most elite and battle-hardened troops in Ukraine's military. Following a series of successful prisoner exchanges, these seasoned soldiers were reorganized into the brigade, now commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Denis Prokopenko, the former commander of the original Azov regiment. His leadership, alongside the combat experience of the brigade, significantly bolsters the Ukrainian defensive efforts in Toretsk. The Azov fighters were swiftly deployed to the Toretsk direction, with their movements kept highly concealed until the moment of the counterattack. This element of surprise proved crucial. The Russian forces in New York were caught completely off guard as they scrambled to dig trenches and set up barbed wire defenses. However, their efforts were in vain, as they were quickly overwhelmed by the precise coordination between Azov's drones and artillery, which decimated the Russian positions before they could properly fortify. The original uncensored combat footage of all operations can be found on our Telegram channel through the link in the description. The Ukrainian fighters systematically deployed artillery and FPV drones to target Russian positions surrounding the chemical plant, aiming to weaken their defenses ahead of the main assault. The coordinated strikes by Azov artillery and drone operators resulted in widespread destruction of Russian firing points hidden within the residential houses around the plant. This relentless bombardment effectively crippled the Russian forces' ability to mount any counterattacks, securing the area for the upcoming Ukrainian offensive. As the intense artillery and drone strikes caught Russians completely off guard, Azov fighters were quickly deployed into assault right after the powerful bombardments. The Russian fighters in the city, while numerically superior, were mostly mobilized personnel who were no match for Azov fighters with over 10 years of combat experience. This led to the defeat of Russian fighters holding the northern residential area of New York and the establishment of a road connection to the chemical plant and its defenders with the main Ukrainian force. Overall, the deployment of Azov fighters in New York quickly changed the course of the battle, as they managed to unblock the regular Ukrainian soldiers under siege. By unblocking the fighters in the chemical plant, Ukrainian forces will utilize their defensive capabilities to their full potential. By maintaining the ground lines of communication with fighters holding the chemical plant, they will receive all necessary logistical support in the form of ammunition and food, which enable a long-lasting defense of not just New York, but also the city of Toresk behind. If you're against the invasion of Ukraine and you want to support the work that I am doing, consider making a purchase in the online store UA Supporter. Here you can find a lot of products with Ukrainian symbols to not only show your support for this channel, but also for Ukraine. The link to the online store is in the description. Thank you for watching this report, and I will see you in the next one.